I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. It's a notorious neighborhood in New York City. People from the city who don't live there think it's a war zone. I'm from Brownsville, but I'm not from the streets of Brownsville. I was a stoop kid. Much of my time was spent in and around the house. Along with my cousins, there were 5 of us. I'd play at a park across the street or in the backyard. We were always chasing each other and fighting. My great-grandparents had a house on a pretty tame block in the neighborhood, but all around us was the anguish that is Brownsville. Our block, though, felt like a real community. My mom and I initially lived there on our own, while my father was living in the Bronx, about 20 miles away, before moving to Brooklyn. Though my parents weren't together when I was born, both of them raised me. I was a shy kid and mostly kept to myself. If I wasn't around family or a few close friends, I didn't have much to say. That and the fact that I had parents who kept a close eye on me are what steered me away from the streets. But in my heart, I felt like I was missing something by not hanging out on the block. As a kid, I always looked up to my uncle, Shaka Mandela, now legally Devon French. He's only a few years older than me and was like a big brother. Shaka had swagger and confidence. Everyone was drawn to him, and it felt like he knew everyone in the neighborhood. I wanted to be like him, but I was just too shy. Shaka had this poise about him. The way he rapped along to music was cool. He would sit on the front porch with his friends and just talk. They'd laugh and make digs at each other. I'd eavesdrop. I never knew what he was talking about, but it sounded so much more interesting than the cartoons I was watching on television. Even the way his mother, my grandmother, called him back to the house was captivating. In the summer, when the sun was setting, she would stand on the front porch and go, "Psst," loudly a few times, assuming Shaka was in the area. When he heard that, he knew it was time to come back home. Shaka and I moved in different circles. Unfortunately, though, if you're black and grew up in an inner-city neighborhood in this country, it's virtually impossible not to be affected by the crime and gun violence that goes on, either directly or through your family and friends. Shaka has plenty of stories from his time on the block or in the projects. He remembers the first time he almost got shot, when he was around 10 years old. He was walking to a Blockbuster video store not far from where he was living at the time in Bedford-Stuyvesant.